Hello gamers, so there has been two deagles in this game for a while now. One has been here since the beginning, but the XIX was added in the past few years, and I don't think anyone's really compared them two in depth, at least not to my knowledge. If they have, I'm sorry, but this is my comparison video. First off, let's look at some statistics of these two weapons, starting off with the L5. The L5 does 56 maximum damage to 50 studs, and at 80 studs it does 32 damage with a 1.5 times torso multiplier and a 2 times headshot multiplier. The XIX hits for 72 maximum damage to about 40 studs, at which point it drops to 37 at 82 studs with a 1.4 times torso multiplier and a 2.5 times headshot multiplier. Baseline, you can tell that these two guns are very similar in terms of damage ranges. However, the XIX hits a lot harder in CQC and slightly harder in LRC. Both deagles have exactly the same RPM at 400. However, the L5 has one more bullet in a mag than the XIX and twice the reserve. That's 20 instead of 40, so the XIX is a little bit lacking in reserve ammo. The L5 also has better reloads and handling, and the XIX is considerably slower in terms of recoil control. And honestly, overall, the L5 is just a lot faster than the XIX, and the XIX just feels very heavy and kind of unwieldy at times. But here's the main upside of the XIX. The XIX is capable of a one hit to the torso to about 40 studs, and the L5 cannot one hit to the torso at all. It can only one hit to the head, which the XIX can also do. The deagle L5 can kill with 4 limb shots in LRC, whereas the deagle XIX can kill with 3 limb shots, and the L5 can kill with 3 to the torso, whereas the XIX can kill with 2 to the torso. They can both kill with a 1 head and 1 limb or torso at all ranges, which is quite nice, but overall the XIX has a lot better shots to kill in a lot of different scenarios. The XIX also has 200 more studs per second muzzle velocity and 0.5 higher suppression. So the L5 shoots at 1500 studs per second and the XIX shoots at 1700, and the L5 has 1 stud of penetration whereas the XIX has 1.5. Overall, that's not going to make a huge difference, but it is worth noting. If all these weird stats don't make any sense to you, all I'm saying is that if you hit somebody in the torso, which is the center of mass, you can kill somebody with 1 bullet to about 40 studs with the XIX, whereas with the deagle L5, you cannot kill somebody with a torso hit. You have to hit them in the head to kill them with 1 shot. However, the L5 has considerably less recoil and 1 more bullet in the magazine, so it does make it a little bit of a actual debate on whether you use the L5 or the XIX. The L5 is so much faster and easy to control, but the XIX has that 1-hit torso and can 2-hit torso all ranges. So they are pretty balanced guns. The XIX isn't straight up better, but I will get to my opinion later and I'll tell you whether or not you should use the L5 or XIX, because that is a pretty complicated question. The L5 is unlocked at rank 18 and the XIX is unlocked at rank 102. So you will not have the XIX for a long time and you'll have the L5 for a very, very long time, basically from like 3 hours of playing the game. And honestly, the L5 is going to be probably better for a lot of people just due to its less recoil. However, the XIX has a 1-hit torso, and that is really, really, really strong. Like, you do not know how good it is to have a 1 hit to the torso in CQC on a pistol. It's really, really good. That's like sniper damage. Now let's get to something a little bit more opinionated. That was just kind of just saying the stats, but a little bit of opinions. This is more opinions. The L5, in my opinion, is a really, really strong gun. I really like it. I have like 250 kills with it, and I did use it for a decent amount of time, but the XIX is just straight up, in my opinion, kind of an upgrade because it can 1-hit torso, and it has a 2.5 headshot multiplier that makes it able to do 93 damage to the head, all ranges, which is really strong. Like, that's a lot of damage for a pistol that has an 8-round capacity and 400 RPM. But for the average player, I'm going to say that the L5 is going to do you better because the L5 is way more controllable and just easy to use all around. And also, it's a really, really low unlock rank. Rank 18 is super low for a gun, whereas rank 102 is super high. So you're probably not going to have the XIX for a long time. And I don't say that you should buy a rank 102 gun, especially the XIX, because the XIX has such a learning curve that you might not even want to use it. But the XIX is my main pistol. I have 750 kills with it, and I've been using it for a long time. The L5, though, is probably going to be better for a lot of people. But if it's me and my personal pick, it's going to be the XIX, just because it has a one-hit torso. Other than that, the L5 has so many things over the XIX. They can both kill with one headshot and one limb shot in LRC, which is really strong. I didn't know that the the L5 could do that. That's actually really, really good, considering one of them is a 50 cal and the other one is 44 mag. They're about the same size bullet, but the L5 bullets, the 44 mag, is a bit smaller than 50 Action Express, which is not like BFG bullets. It's pretty small bullets still, but it's still a 50 cal. Regardless, the XIX, in my opinion, is better, but the L5 is going to be better for most players. So make sure to buy it in the test place before you actually buy it in the main game or go into a VIP server, and make sure you can use it. Now let's get on to some attachment loadouts. My personal loadout is default, muzzle brake, green laser, default, and a lot of people are probably gonna say that this is a bad loadout or something like that. In my opinion, this is my favorite loadout. I don't want to buy a lot of other things on this gun, and it's important to know that there are technically better loadouts out there. However, default, muzzle brake, and green laser and default are just my favorite attachments on this gun. However, you can put an optic on here. Optics are whatever. I don't really like optics on pistols, and the deagle iron sights I kind of like. However, if you're going to go for the meta loadout on these guns, it's going to be barrel, extended barrel, and other police stock. If the L5 has a police stock, use it on that one as well. The problem with those attachments is that they make your gun even slower. I don't believe that the L5 has a police stock, so it would be like extended barrel and green laser. I wouldn't, in my opinion, use those. The extended barrel is just better. It just makes your damage ranges better, but it makes your gun more unwieldy, like even more than it already was. The muzzle brake just lowers your overall recoil, and that's why I use it. Police stock is also good on the XIX, but with police stock and extended barrel, you move so slow and ADS so slow that you basically just have to hit fire with the gun. But it has a lot less recoil with the police stock. So if you want to, you can use default or any optic, extended barrel, police stock, default on the XIX, and on the L5, default, extended barrel, green laser, and default. There is a big problem with the extended barrel. I've already said it, and that's why I don't use it. So you can pick any loadout you want, but what you really, really need to know is do not use an ammo attachment on either of these. Don't use armor piercing, especially on the XIX. It halves your range that you can one hit to the torso, and never use hollow points on the XIX. You can use them maybe on the L5, but never use them on the XIX because you can't one-hit torso. Literally, you can't, because it removes your torso multiplier. So your torso multiplier is gone, your headshot multiplier is very reduced, and you do less damage in LRC. It's overall terrible. Don't use hollow points. But yeah, in my personal opinion, both these guns are balanced. I think the XIX is just kind of straight up better, but they both have reasons to be used, and I think that they're both pretty balanced guns. The L5, in my opinion, might need a little bit of a push towards like being a slightly better gun. Maybe a buff, maybe a slight buff. It doesn't need a crazy buff. But the XIX, in my opinion, would probably be better overall if you're skilled enough to actually like hit things with it and not spray too hard. Which I'm not saying I'm crazy good at the game, but you need to be a little bit good at the game to actually try to use the XIX and actually pull it off. If I were to rate these guns on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that the XIX is probably a 8, maybe a 9, and the L5 is an 8. So XIX is probably a 9, the L5 is an 8. They are both really, really strong guns on the higher end for pistols, and people use them a lot. They are really, really popular guns, but I just wanted to give them a little bit of a comparison. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, comment any other videos like this that you want to see. And yeah, this was a little bit weird because I haven't made like a comparison or any type of this video in a long time, and it's kind of cool to come back, but at the same time these kind of videos are really annoying to make. So I will see you in the next one. Peace.